Hi, my name's Bree. I'm known as Bookish Bree on Instagram and Twitter, and also Jasper and Spice on Goodreads, and that's the name of my blog, which I will be linking down below. I'm going to talk about my favourite standalones today. All of them are LGBT themed, and all of them I have cried in. So let's get to it. I'm going to go in order of which I've read these books, because that's probably the best way to do it. And we're going to start off with Two Boys Kissing. Two Boys Kissing is a book about basically two boys that want to set the world record for the longest kiss. And it follows their journey. It also follows a few other couples and people's journeys to basically show what it's like being a gay person and what representation means to people who are gay. And I really love this book because it just shows different people in different situations, and they're all like linked in some way because they're in gay relationships or they identify as gay. The book has a happy ending, which I really loved. Well, not a happy ending. It has an ending that's not sad. It's not sad, but you cry because of the themes that occur in this book. I love David Levithan's writing. I think it's beautiful, I think it's amazing, emotional, and I feel like everyone should read this book. I just think there's just so much in it, in this small little book. Like, look how thin it is, it's so thin. Yeah, I was gifted this for my birthday, it was my 16th birthday, and I was like, oh, I've never heard of this one, what is this? Read it, and it's been like my favourite book since. So I'm so glad I was given this, and I'm so glad I read this. I will read out the blurb for Two Boys Kissing because I don't think I explained it as well. The two boys kissing are Craig and Harry. They're hoping to set the world's record for longest kiss. They're not a couple, but they used to be. Peter and Neil are a couple, their kisses are different. Avery and Ryan have only just met and are trying to figure out what happens next. Side note, Avery and Ryan are both boys. But if you read the book, you'll understand. I thought, because Avery was usually, well, I've heard Avery being used as a girl's name. I thought it was a girl, but as I was reading, obviously it made sense, but just so you know. Both of them worry that something will go wrong. Cooper is alone. It's getting to the point where he doesn't really feel things anymore. God bless Cooper. That was where I thought, I'm really not going to spoil this, but from the blurb, you can just think something might be going wrong. There may be a trigger warning in this book, but I'd say not really because there is no suicide or, yeah. These boys, along with their friends and families, form a tapestry that will reveal love of all kinds, open and eager, tentative and cautious, pained and scared. New York Times bestselling author David Levithan has sewn together their lives into a redemptive whole that will captivate, illuminate and move readers. And it did all those things. The second book, oh, you probably already know this book, it's a bit orange. I did a review for this book on my blog as well. I think I did a review for Two Boys Kissing on my blog as well, but I can't remember. I will link them both down below if I did. But this book was ooh, everything's falling on my lap. Let's put them down. So yeah, see the sticker, this book, I Was Born for This by Alice Oseman. And this book was book of the month, and I thought I might as well pick it up. I didn't have any other books to read in my TBR, and I thought, might as well, I'll go along to the first book meet and I'll see. And this book was amazing, I'm so glad they chose it. Follows a girl named Angel, and she basically meets her favourite boy band and goes on a journey with them. It's a wild, wild ride. You see things from the boy band's perspective and how the fame and fans affect them. You see it from Angel's perspective, where she is a major fan and she just wants to meet these boys and wants to be with them, but she doesn't acknowledge her friends who she's staying with, and there's just so much going on. There's LGBT themes in this book, which I really loved how they were presented. It was beautiful. I cried. It was a very sweet ending. Thankfully no one died. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. I don't want to spoil the book any more than I might have already. I will read the blurb for you guys because I'm not very good at describing things, so I think the blurb would probably be better. So, for Angel, life is about one thing. The Ark, a pop rock trio of teenage boys taking the world by storm. Being part of the Ark's fandom has given her everything she loves. Her friend Juliet, her dreams, her place in the world. And if you liken this to One Direction or any other major pop band, you're probably on the right track and you're going to have, like me, major 1D nostalgia. Or if you're a fan of any boy band, you will have nostalgia AF. Reading on. Jimmy owes everything to the Ark. He's their frontman and plays in a band with his mates, is all he's ever dreamed of doing. But dreams don't always turn out the way you think, and when Jimmy and Angel are unexpectedly thrust together, they find out how strange and surprising facing up to reality can be. It was funny, it was sad, it was witty, it just showed how relationships, it just showed relationships, and I thought the raw way that people interacted, it was just beautiful. It was something that needed to be read. I loved it, and I was so glad Alice was able to put this into words. God bless her. I've got 2 of her other books somewhere up there, which I need to read. But yeah. And the third book I read, and I talked about on my Instagram actually, and I think I posted something about it on my blog in a wrap up. I will link that down below if you want to read it. I Had Such Friends by Meg Gatlin Vaness. I was sent this by Pantera Press. They were kind enough to send me this and Arcane, which I'm gonna get to soon, hopefully. I read this not knowing anything about it. Actually, I read the blurb a little bit, but it didn't really tell me anything. The blurb doesn't say anything, it just starts off the book essentially. I'm gonna start off with the end. This book had the most bittersweet ending. I didn't actually think I was gonna cry during this book, and I'm crying. I'm like nearly crying thinking about it, and I don't cry easily in books or in anything. And this book just shook me to the core. There was just so much raw. When you're reading the book, you think, okay, maybe this is just like, this would never happen. Like, how could this is just a work of fiction? And you're reading and you're reading, and then you get into the people's lives and their heads. I will put a warning out there. This does involve homophobia and suicide. So if you are wary of that, I recommend you don't read it, because it is, the way it's written, it really cuts you to the heart. And I just think it was written, it was also something that people might not like also about this book, is that it's written in a very Australian voice. So there's a lot of Australianisms like Chucky Yui, and honestly, they went over my head, because I read this so fluently because I am Australian and I speak in such a strange, dejected way that I just understood everything in this book. But I think that might be glitchy for some people. But the way the main character spoke about himself, about his friends, was just, it was something you expect from a character who you're gonna hate. But you have to think of him as a human. You have to think of him as if you were him. And you think about it and you're like, he's being mean, he's like calling his friends names, but you think about it and you're like, maybe I've said that about my friend before, or maybe something's happened and that's actually something a human would say. And he's not a perfect character, and I love that about it. I love that he can talk about his friends behind his back and people will hate him for it, but you're thinking about it and you're like, that maybe it's a human thing. Like, I don't know. I found that as a point that I was gonna note down as a negative point for the review, and then I was like, maybe not. It's so human that you can't pick out a character for being a mean character just because he does that. And yeah, I'm sorry. I can't really talk. I don't know. I didn't do a review for this book because when I finished it, I was bawling my eyes out. I've never done that before in a book. And I couldn't put my feelings into words because this book had so much raw emotion that I just didn't know how to express what was happening. And this is probably the only time I'm going to talk about this book like this. Yeah, Meg Gatlin-Vaness, the author, was brought up in New South Wales. I'm pretty sure they said she was brought up in a country town in New South Wales. So that is where the book is set. It's set in a country town, in a high school, where obviously they're not city kids, so they're not really big with the accepting gay people, and I don't know how country towns work, but you see big cities are just really bringing in all this gay pride, and country towns don't seem to get a good rap with homophobic behaviour. Like, they always get a bad rap with all the homophobic behaviour they have, and I feel like this really portrayed humanity well. Yeah, I'm speechless after this. Here are my top favourite standalones. They're amazing. I cried in every one of them. It was good to speak about those books and get that off my chest. Hopefully you understood what I was saying, because when I get pretty emotional, the words just move out of my brain word storage section, and yeah, English. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a lovely day, week, month, year. Keep reading, look after yourself, stay happy and healthy, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!